Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the new set just got revealed. So that's really nice. Also, sorry for all the ads. PokeBeach has a lot of ads on it now, unfortunately. But luckily, they still have all the cards, so it's fine. But yeah, the Scarlet EX and Violet EX, which are essentially just going to be our Scarlet and Violet base set, they're completely revealed in Japan, so that's really interesting. You also see these arts. I don't know. I guess these are just the secret rares for this set, so that's cool. They look nice. And not too much to say about them. Also, the EX mechanic. I guess we can look at this EX here. But so pretty much this one, for example, is a stage 1. So Growlithe is always a stage 1. This one's also a stage, or Arcanine's a stage 1. So this is a stage 1. And then the attacks are normal, HP is normal, all that. And this one's also a terastallized one, but that doesn't really matter. Pretty much all that matters, they give up 2 prizes, and they evolve from single prize Pokemon. So, unlike how V-Stars evolve from multi-prize Pokemon, these evolve from single prizes, kind of like how GXs did. I believe these are the same as the old EX mechanic, like, let's see, like this. So they have these Ampharos EXs. So this is a very old Ampharos EX. I don't really know the rulings for this. I think it just gives up 2 prizes, but pretty much it's the same. So we're going to see these EXs, and they have really big HPs as well. So I think you're looking at VMAX size HP for the stage 2 EXs. You're looking at V-Star size HP for the stage 1s, like this Arcanine here. And then we're also looking at HPs of stuff like regular Vs for the single for the basic EXs like Koraidon, Miraidon here. So let's hop into the cards. There are a lot, and so we're not going to talk about all of them. A lot of them are pretty underwhelming, but honestly, I don't remember. I've glanced at them, but haven't looked too much. Let's see, I think all these are bad. We have this Arboliva, which is interesting with its ability Fill Oil. When you evolve into it, you can heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. Is that good? Yeah, but I don't know how useful it'll be, and it's an on-reveal ability of a stage 2, and we're also going to be losing Scoop Up Net, which isn't a big deal, because you're probably never going to evolve it twice, but it's a good ability, but as a stage 2, I don't think it'll see play. Torkoal, you can just slam a bunch of fire energy on, and it does big damage. It's not anything particularly special, though. Then we see this Armarouge, and this Armarouge is amazing. Also, the art. Honestly, the art in this set is so good. I love it so much, so I'm super happy about that. Its ability, Fire Alarm. Also a really cool ability name, if that's how it's translated. But as often as you like during a turn, you may move a fire energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So that's really interesting. I'm just going to take a look here. Yeah, so its fire energy can be from any type of Pokemon, though. So you just power up, say, a bench Pokemon using something like Magma Basin to a bench fire Pokemon. Move the energy off that, and you can start attacking with a colorless Pokemon, say Arceus V-Star or something. But more importantly, you can use this like Bronzong. It's a tiny bit weaker. Bronzong, the one that moves energy around, same thing as Aromatisse. Weavile GX, they just move energy anywhere. Armarouge only moves it to the active, but that's still pretty useful. And that can, if you just have a switch or two, you can pretty much get your energy anywhere you want on your board. So it's quite good. But I think it's a stage 1, but it provides good benefit, and you can also play fire decks with some colorless attackers teched in, and they'll still work very well. So we could see an Arceus fire deck come in, or just a fire deck with Magma Basin and some interesting colorless techs. Possibly, I don't know, there are so many. Or they could just be Aurora Fire Armarouge box. There are so many possibilities because it can move Aurora energy as well, which will be rotating around when this comes out. But it's interesting and a really neat card to watch out for. Let's see this. Gyarados EX, pretty underwhelming. You see the 300 HP high benchmark, and also it's a terastallized Pokemon. So the mechanic you can see up here, right next to where it evolves, you see some rule box, and that's the terastall mechanic. Honestly, it's super boring, and it'll hopefully be fleshed out a bit more, but pretty much you're immune to bench damage, and that's all it does. But then we see its attacks, so for 3 water, 100, which is okay, and for water, colorless, you can do 180. If you have damage on you, you do 360, so is that good? I don't know, I guess it's better than 100 for 3, but underwhelming attacks here, to be honest, and you probably wouldn't choose to use this, so Yeah, nothing too impressive, but the big HP is interesting. It's the highest HP I believe we've seen for stage 1 EX, but as I said, we're looking at that like high 200s range generally for these stage 1 EXs, it looks like, similar to V-Stars. Let's see, Float Soul is just a generic Pokemon where you want a lot of water energy on. And let's see, I think there's Wugtrio. Yes, Wugtrio is one of my favorite Pokemon. Wiglet and Wugtrio, I like them. They're silly, they're basic, but they're fun. Wugtrio, though, for 3 colorless, so not too hard to pay. You flip 3 coins for each heads mill 3, so you can mill up to 9. Without Glimwood Tangle, you're probably gonna mill an average of like 4 cards per turn, which is, it's okay for 3 energy on a stage 1. It's hard to power up, but it's certainly pretty solid. And I don't think this card will see play, but I think it's an option to try if you just want to mess around. Dondozo, pretty underwhelming. It does 50 for each Tatsugiri in your discard. I made a custom Dondozo card that was, I think, really interesting, that had them interact a lot together. These two don't interact a lot together, unfortunately. Pretty boring and not that good, but Dondozo 160 HP on a basic, can hit up to 200 for 2 colorless, so is it bad? No. Is it great? It's not great either. I think Kilowatt, not too interesting there. Okay, so we have this. One thing to keep in mind, you're not going to want this Curlier, because there's a Curlier from Silver Tempest, which is absolutely cracked. It's one of the best cards in the game, so you're going to want to do that. It just has the ability to discard 1, draw 2. And then you have the Gardevoir from Chilling Reign and the Glade from Astral Radiance to fill out your engine as well. But really importantly, we have the Gardevoir EX, which is, in my opinion, well, I was going to say one of the best cards we've ever seen. Now, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it's very good with its ability. It's a Stage 2 EX, but it's so good. As often as you like, you can attach a basic energy from your discard pile, a basic psychic from your discard pile to one of your psychic Pokemon. So a bit limiting there, but you still have a bunch of options. And if you do put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon, and you can't carry yourself with it, which isn't a big deal. But that's insane. You can accelerate all your energy. Like, that's absurd. You just accelerate all of it. And then you can also heal it off. It's not that hard. Don't Cheryl, obviously, because then you're just going to lose the energy. But there are ways to heal it, and it's not that big of a deal. Quite frankly, I think this card's absurd. You can just get all your energy into play on 1 turn, which is just so impressive. I think Gardevoir EX might be the best card in this set. There are some other interesting ones, but man, Gardevoir is insane, and I think it's just so good. There are a few decent partners. Even any Pokemon like Alchemy VMAX, which will pretty much have rotated by the time this comes out, but you could still play them together. Or Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. There are some other ones. Mewtwo V-Star. There are just so many amazing. You can literally play this with Lunatone, and it just... Well, probably don't do that with Lunatone. You'll KO yourself if you put too many energies on, but it's an interesting option. And then we also see it does an attack that does 190 for 3, which isn't that bad, but not that good either. Let's see. Most of these aren't too good. This Dash... No, was it Dash Bun? I don't remember this Pokemon. I haven't played Scarlet and Violet, so I'm not super familiar with all of them, but it's immune to fire Pokemon, so that's okay, I guess. Then we also see, let's see, there's so many just generic Pokemon here, unfortunately. This Lucario, there's a Lucario EX that we'll get to, but this single prize Lucario is an option. It can just do, if one of your Pokemon was KO'd last turn, it does 150 for 1 fighting, and that's pretty good. Is it amazing? No, but it's quite solid. It could even see play in a Zoroark box, probably not, but it's a possibility. But overall, it's just a nice option, especially if you're playing a Lucario deck already. Then we see, let's see, I guess Crocodile deserves a shout out. It does 180 for 2 fighting on a stage 2. That's pretty okay. And then you do 30 to each of your bench Pokemon, but it's not a big deal. I don't know. It's not too bad. And then we see, okay, this also might be one of the best. This is, I believe, also a pre-release promo, so that's pretty cool. It's one of the best cards in this set. Gets hurt by Scoop Up Net rotating, but it's essentially double Glare and Zigzagoon, so when you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench, you can choose 2 of your opponent's Pokemon and put 1 damage counter on each of them, so that's really good. just replacing Glaring Zigzagoon. You can't really return it to your hand super easily, but there are a few ways I think that we'll get to. I don't remember all of them, but there's some really interesting looking cards in this set. But Hawlucha is definitely going to see play. It's going to get a ton of value in decks, especially if you just want a little bit of push. And if you can play with Scoop of Net, it's just so good. We're going to lose Scoop of Net, but anyway, to return it to your hand, it's just insane. It's like Glaring Zigzagoon is good, Hawlucha is better, so it's quite solid. A low HP, surprisingly. Usually Hawlucha, I'd expect to have like 90, but just want to balance it out, I suppose. And 70 for 3 isn't too bad either. Let's see, Sandaconda is interesting with 3 fighting and a colorless, so that's really expensive. But if you pay this and then you discard 2 energy from it, your opponent shuffles their active and all cards attached into their deck. So is that good? Yeah, that's pretty good if you're ever able to power it up, but it's probably going to be like impossible to power up, but if you get it, it's really good. Okay, now we see Great Tusk EX. Yeah, this isn't particularly interesting. We see it. I mean, it hits hard. It has health, but not too much. Koraidon EX. So the Scarlet Pokemon, its ability Dino Cry is once during your turn, you can search for up to 2 base, attach 2 basic fighting from your discard pile, fighting energy from your discard pile to your basic fighting Pokemon in any way you like, and then your turn ends. So ideally, you'd use this the first turn of the game, probably going first, and then you power up possibly Koraidon itself or some other fighting Pokemon, possibly something like Great Tusk, possibly something like, there are just so many fighting Pokemon, and they're all like Urshifu or something. There are a bunch of options, and then its attack, Wild Impact, which is the same attack as Miraidon EX. It just does 220 for 2 colored energy and a colorless energy, and then it can't attack next turn. Is that a big deal? No, it's not. There are tons of ways to get out of the active. We're losing Air Balloon, but it's not too big of a deal. Koraidon will be solid, I think. Let's see, what else? You can have Muck so your opponent can't evolve or devolve out of poison. Not too impressive. We see a bunch of poison cards, but one of the interesting ones here is that we got Toxic Croak EX, which is a solid EX. I kind of like it, but for 1 dark, you can search for 2 cards and put them into your hand and then shuffle your deck. So you could play this in a pseudo-control style deck where you have Cheryl, and then you have stuff like just all sorts of disruption stuff you search for, and you just Cheryl a bunch. But more importantly, it has the attack Toxic Ripper for Dark Colorless, so not too hard to pay either with Dark Patch, Raihan, double turbo energy. You do 120 and your opponent's active is now poisoned, put 6 damage instead of 1. So that's pretty impressive. Is it amazing? No, but it's not bad, and it's solid. It's typing. Being weak to fighting doesn't seem particularly good, but overall it's an interesting card, and I think it deserves some play. We'll see though, but it's solid. Probably one of the best EXs we've looked at so far as well, and most unique. We see Kingambit, the Bisharp evolution now is kind of interesting. Its ability Generalship says as long as this Pokemon is in play, the attacks of your basics do 30 more to your opponent's active. And that's good. Is it amazing? Is it worth playing? I'm not sure. It's certainly interesting. I think it might sneak its way into a deck here or there, but I don't. It's going to be hard to justify making room for him, but it's kind of cool. So, watch out. I think Stage 2s will become more viable as well, so we could see this popping up here or there. Reverum, really interesting ability. Debatably a replacement for something like Barrel or any engine card, but you discard an energy from your hand to use this ability, and you can only use this ability once per turn, and then you draw till you have 6 in hand. You might actually, based on the wording, which is hard to tell because it's translation, but you might be able to discard an energy from your hand as often as you want during your turn, which is a thing. But then you get to draw till you have 6. So that draws more than a barrel and thins your hand, but obviously you need to drop that energy. So is it worth it? Probably. I mean, it's certainly worth it. Sometimes you need to have a deck where you can sacrifice a lot of energy. And so it's solid. It's a bit less consistent than Barrel, but it's strong, and you can have this as your engine if you want. And I think it'll see some play like that. Not a ton, but I think it's an option. If you're looking at a deck with over 12 energy, I'd say you can put this in. If you have less, if 12 or less, probably don't put this in. Maybe if you desperately need energy in the discard, but probably not. Let's see, we got nothing else here particularly interesting. Staraptor is immune to basics if it uses its one attack. Is that good? It's okay. We see, let's see, I think, Oinkalone EX. Yeah, this one's bad. It does, you can do 10 plus 30 more for each of your opponent's benched, which is okay, and its other attack's fine, but not too much to say about that. We see some reprints, Palpad, Nest Ball, EXP Share, and Research. And then a few new trainers. We see Rock Chest Plate, so your the fighting Pokemon it's attached to. And keep in mind, tools are now no longer items, which is cool, I guess. Nothing too important there. But it takes 30 less from attacks, so that's pretty important. And it'll see play. Also, we see Defiant Band. So if you have more cards remaining than your opponent, you do 30 more that Pokemon that the tool is attached to, and that's amazing. This is going to see so much play. This is one of the best cards in the set, honestly. It's so impressive because it's going to be so nice, especially if you're playing a stage 2 deck. You're going to take a little while to set up, then all of a sudden you can pop off with Defiant Band. I think this is going to see so much play, be so good. You obviously need to keep in mind, make sure that you're all good with prizes. You don't want to lose, and you also want to make sure Defiant Band's active for as long as possible. It's only to the active, but it's a very strong card. See Jack here. It's a double Evo Instant, search for 2 evolutions. Is that good? It's okay. It's not that good, though. We see Team Star Grunt, a variant of the Grunt card, and it says put an energy attached to one of your opponent's active Pokemon on top of their deck. It allows you to control their top deck, which is kind of good, but at the same time, it doesn't permanently remove the energy either, so it's not that good. Also, sorry for all the weird ads. I don't know why I'm getting these, but yeah, sorry about that. But we see Beach or Penny here. So this is the really interesting card that says return one of your basic Pokemon to play and all cards attached to it to your hand. You can use this as a scoop, as like a recovery card to heal off the Pokemon. You can use it to reuse an on-play ability like that copy of Howlucha, or you can use it as a pivot. But obviously it's best if you can use multiple of those, and it's probably best as a heal card as well. It's a cool card, and so yeah, I think it's gonna see play. Let's see a ton of play. Probably not, but it'll certainly see some. Now we see Beach Court. Also, I really like this art. Pretty generic, but it looks it's fun. But it says the retreat cost of each basic is 1 colorless less. So this is very similar to Sky Arrow Bridge, if not the same, but it's good, I guess. You can play it with Baby Mew. You can play it with some other Pokemon. Is it good? Yeah. Well, let's see play. I'm not sure. Moving on to the other stuff, though. Let's see. Scatterbug and Spupa can be evolved the first turn they come into play into Vivillon, which is bad. So not too much to say about that. Spidops, yes, one of the more interesting Pokemon from this generation, in my opinion. But it has a really interesting card here. Its ability Trap Territory, which actually stacks, I believe. Your opponent's active retreat cost is 1 colorless more, the same ability as Jellicent, I think. But its attack then does 90 for grass colorless, but 30 for each more for each energy in your opponent's retreat cost. So if they have a retreat cost of 2, then it's going to be ramped up to 3 instantly from having this in play. And so all of a sudden you're hitting 150. If you get multiple Spidops in play, you can hit 180, 210. You can hit really high amounts of damage, and there are some really good Pokemon with high retreat costs. One thing to keep in mind is you can play this in a control deck, and I think that'll be how it's going to see some play. Just trying to trap your opponent in the active by stopping or increasing their retreat cost and stopping them from retreating. Keep in mind they can play Path to essentially turn this off. That Path would also stop Galar Mine. So some interesting interactions, but also you can build up. You can increase the amount of damage you do with Leafeon VMAX, which is interesting. So just a cool card here. Let's see, we got Toadschool. I don't think that's very good. Most of these are just pretty generic. We got the Arcanine EX. It does more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. It's pretty underwhelming, though. I mean, there are a lot of EXs. A lot of them just hit for like mid 200s, which is good damage output, but I don't think there's too much for me to say about it. Is it good? Yeah, but is it special? No. We see, okay, so this is so good, honestly, I think, unless I'm misunderstanding, but this Slowbro says its ability Strange Behavior. So it's a stage 1, keep that in mind, 100 health. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a damage counter from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon, to Slowbro. And you can use this attack, which heals 30 from it, but that's not very much. What I'm thinking is you get a bunch of Slowbros, say 3, and then you have a big tanky Pokemon they active. Let's say Gudra V-Star, for example. And then your opponent hits into your Gudra, they don't KO it, you got like, say, 200 damage on. Then you move all that damage off to Slowbro. And you can move them off to the different Slowbros. Now, all of a sudden, your big, beefy Gudra has no damage. Then you drop Cheryl. Then you've just healed off all the damage that your opponent's done to you. So pretty much you just do a few Slowbros, Cheryl, and all of a sudden you're not invincible. But if your opponent doesn't one-shot you, you can pretty much guarantee that you can heal off. So I think this is absolutely insane, and I can't wait to see this. Slowbro is honestly another one of the best cards in the set, and it's a new card. Right now, I think some of the best are Gurdvor, EX, maybe Hawlucha. There's another one I said, but this Slowbro is certainly up there. If not, it's probably not the best, but it's certainly quite good. Let's see, nothing else too special here, unfortunately. Just so many generic Pokemon. A Magnezone EX, it does 50 for each energy attached to all your opponent's Pokemon for 1 lightning. And yeah, there are some energy ramp decks where you just want to get a ton of energy in play, like the Gurdvor EX I talked about. Magnezone just counters really hard. No, so you can do 220 for 2 lightning, and then 30 to yourself. Stage 2, so it's not that good. Again, very generic, mid 200 damage, but Energy Crush could be really good. Is it enough to build a deck around? I'm not sure. We see Pachirisu. This is a cool Pokemon. It can't be paralyzed, but more importantly, for Lightning Colorless, you do 10, but 20 more for each of your bench Lightning Pokemon, but it's not affected by weakness. Very important. They did that for a reason. This isn't supposed to be a counter to those things like Palkia or Lugia. This is just a good damage output Pokemon. And so you can hit 110 for 2. Is it good? Yeah, that's pretty solid. Will it see play? Might see play with Magnezone. There's also, I guess we'll get to it now. Toxtricity's not that good. I'll skip this. I'll go to Miraidon, which has an ability that says you can search for 2 basic lightning Pokemon, put them onto your bench. You can chain this from Miraidon to Miraidon as well. That's why it's called Tandem Unit. It's a pretty cool, same attack as Caridon. I don't remember the name of the other one, but it does 220 for lightning colorless, and it can attack next turn. So you got the big, nice lightning package. We got the Pachirisu, the Magnezone. We got the Miraidon. And then we got this interesting Palmont, a stage 2 with an interesting ability that says once in your turn, you may search your deck for a basic lightning, attach it to this Pokemon. And then for 3 lightning colorless, you can do 230. Just got all energy attached to it. That's a big sweeper if you want. Maybe not a sweeper, but it's really interesting. You compare it with Energy Switch if you want. There's another. I don't think Palmont's that good. But there's another item card which we'll get to, which is kind of cool. And then we see the Bayonet EX, which I might have mentioned earlier. And it has an attack that says, for 1 Psychic on a stage 1, your opponent can't play any items from their hand next turn. Everyone's favorite effective attack. More lock stuff. Is it going to be good? Yeah, I think it's going to be good. We're going to see it with that tool that increases damage if you're behind on prizes, which will probably be pretty common with this card. And you can just mess your opponent up. And then once they've gotten a big hand with all these items that they can't play, use Poltergeist for Psychic colorless, which is pretty fun. Look at your opponent's hand. This does 60 for each trainer card there. So that can be really good. Keep in mind they can play tools under item lock now because of the ruling change. But overall, this is just a very solid Pokemon. Possibly a tech option in Gurdvor decks, but also possibly a tech option in a bunch of different decks. We also see this Florges. It says it's a stage 2, and pretty much all your Pokemon have no weakness. That's a good ability. Is it good enough to see play on a stage 2? Probably not, but hopefully we see some more support for stage 2s. But overall, it's not bad, but it's not quite good enough, I don't think. We see Klefki with its ability Prank Lock. As long as this is your active, each player's basic Pokemon have no abilities other than Prank Lock. Now that's pretty good. One thing to keep in mind is that you can't really do too much when you're sitting behind this. Sure, you can have an evolution engine, but is it that good? I don't know. It also can do... Yeah, its attack's bad. So overall, I don't have high hopes for this Pokemon. But the ability lock turn 1, you can start this and your opponent has no abilities they can use. It could be good. I'm not sure. We'll see. I would say Grievard. This one's interesting. For 1 Psychic, do 10 for each Psychic Pokemon in your discard. That can get pretty big with the Gardevoir engine. And the Houndstone, it does 80 base damage, so 80 more. It's 2 Psychic, it has more health. It's an interesting option. But pretty much you can just get a lot of Psychic Pokemon in the discard and start carrying your opponent. Is it that good? I don't think so, but it's certainly an option. Now we see this, the Stage 2 evolution of Primeape, Annihilate, the dead Primeape. For 1 fighting, you do 70 for each prize your opponent has taken. Now that's insane. If your opponent, and you can do 170 for 2 fighting, which is also okay, but oh my gosh, 70 for each prize they've taken. If they've taken 3 prizes, that's 210 damage for 1 fighting on a Stage 2. That's insane. So as soon as your opponent's halfway through the game, you'll just start, annihilating them. That's why it's called Annihilate. And this is so strong. We'll see play. Yeah, I think it will see play. It's a Stage 2. I think we'll see maybe Annihilate Lucario. Maybe something a bit different, but I think it's very, very good. And so I think there's a high chance of seeing play. People don't like Stage 2s, but I think Annihilate will have a chance to see play. Let's see. So many Mabosstiff. Your ability Howling, Enraged Howling, says once during your turn you may switch your opponent's active with one of their bench Pokemon. Or they switch. It's worded weirdly. But pretty much you send them to the bench every turn. That's quite disruptive. Is it good? Yeah, it's not that good. Let's see what else here. Iron Treads EX, very generic. Let's see, Chansey Blissey, pretty generic. Okay, another really interesting one. This is probably the most interesting card in this set. I don't know if it's good or bad. This ability Hidey Hole. Once during your turn, you may shuffle your hand, return the cards to the bottom of your deck without looking at them, like mine, and then draw a card. So, you can use this for each Skwovet. So you can have 4 Skwovets on the bench. That's an extra 4 cards you draw, but you lose your whole hand. You don't have to send any cards to the bottom, I don't think. This could see play as an extra draw throughout the game. It also stops you from decking out. Maybe you'll see play in control. It's good with Snorlax. I don't really know what to think of this. This is funky, and I like it. I don't know if I love it. But it can allow you to have a solid boost in consistency, kind of like how Pyukumuku works, except just, like, weirder. I like this Skwovet. I think this Skwovet's going to be amazing. Maybe I'm off the mark, but I really like this card. I have really high hopes, and I think it's going to be really fun to just mess around with. So, yeah, so this, if you want to comment your thoughts down below on any card, I think this is the #1 card to look at. Is it the best? I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I really like it. It's really cute, too. I think it's so good. Is it going to be good enough that you lose your whole hand? But its ability is so good. I think we're in for a possibly really good card. Another really good card here, Indeedee. Switch your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play. And evolve it and then shuffle your deck. That's the same attack we saw in Diancie, essentially. And Diancie saw play with Gardevoir GX, so I'm thinking Indeedee could see play with Gardevoir EX or something similar. Any of those Stage 2 decks, I think we could see Indeedee coming in, being very strong. And then Hypno Waves, whatever. We got Mousehold. I made a card like this, and it's similar. But I messed up on the card a little, which you definitely pointed out, which I appreciate, but... As I said, comment your thoughts below on this video as well. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. If you'd like, subscribe, comment, all that. It's really nice. But Mousehold's not that nice. It's pretty boring. Squawk ability, pretty boring. Silenger, pretty boring. Electricity Generator. I'll talk about the reprints first. Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, Rocky Helmet, Research. yeah, some reprints. But okay, electricity generator. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 basic lightning. Attach them to your bench lightning Pokemon any way you like, and then shuffle your deck. So, wow, that can accelerate 2 energy as an item any point during the game. The question is, are you just going to play a lot of energy, or are you just going to use some combo pieces? And that's what I'm not sure about. But this card has the potential to be amazing. I'm looking at Swap Cup and Expedition Uniform to pull this combo off, which could maybe work. Maybe not, but if you get that big turn 1 double lightning, that's just insane. So I think Electricity Generator could be very good. We'll see. I think it'll definitely see play, though, as like a max elixir type card. I think if you don't stack your deck, though, you're just going to miss. You're almost never going to get 2 lightning, so it's still good, but we'll see how good it gets. Picnic Basket, heal 30 from a Hall Pokemon in play. Both yours and their opponents. Is that good? I don't really know. It's not that good. And then we see Katie. So this is an interesting supporter. Your turn ends when you use this, but shuffle, draw 8. Is that good? It's not that good. I don't think it'll see play. And then we see, let's see, Arven. Search your deck for an item and a tool and put them into your hand. Is that good? That's not good. Don't play that. Miriam, on the other hand, really, really good, I think. So choose up to 5 Pokemon cards, which I'm assuming means Pokemon. Bit of a weird translation, but recover 5 Pokemon, shuffle them into your deck, then draw 3. This is a draw 3 with an amazing upside. I think this card's gonna be very good. And I think it'll see a bunch of play on every deck, but it'll see play on a solid chunk of decks. I think Miriam, super good. If you're looking for a recovery card, just stick this in. You can play at any time. You do need to recover the Pokemon, but if you don't have 5, you can still play it. I think it's gonna see so much play in so many decks. This card's just amazing. Now, Misagosa is a stadium here that says once during each player's turn, they can flip a coin. If head, search for Pokemon, reveal it, put to your hand. It says Pokemon card. I'm pretty sure that means Pokemon, not just any card, because they're all Pokemon cards. But search for a Pokemon and put it into your hand. That's good. I don't know why you'd play this, though. It's inconsistent, and it also helps your opponent in every deck. So I don't think it'll see much play, but it's an interesting option. Now we see some other things, some other cards that are not part of this set in Japan. It doesn't really matter too much. They'll come however they come in our set, and it doesn't matter. But we'll see what... okay, why am I getting ads for mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles? What is... I don't know. Okay, Pokebeach, you have some strange ads. Anyways, so we see nothing too interesting here, unfortunately. But then we see nothing too interesting there. Come on, give me something cool. Lucario EX, some okay attacks. Again, somewhat boring, but could be good. We see Stonjourner, again, boring. A lot of these cards are boring. We see Energy Switch reprint, Energy Search reprint, Potion reprint, Pokegear reprint, Switch, Pokemon Catcher. Also, I love this Switch art. This is so good in my opinion. I love the new art style. Everything looks so slick, so clean. I love this Energy Search as well. I'm just so loving this new art style. We see Judge reprinted, so no Marnie. I kind of like this. Youngster, Shuffle Draw 5. Same thing as Shauna, so looks like we're not seeing Cynthia Mac, which is fair. And then Pneumonia we see as the rival here. Pneumonia's the rival. Instead of Hop, instead of How, instead of Sharon, instead of Tiono, it just draw 3. And nothing new here, I don't think. And then we see the other... these are just more cards. Let's see. Skeleton Dirge isn't that good. I can accelerate basic fire from your discard, but it's not that good as a stage 2. Ampharos EX can do big damage. For Lightning Colorless Colors, you can discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Just 140 is that good. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Or sorry, 240. That's pretty solid. It's not that hard to pay either. So I think this card will see some play. Fighting could be very good, though, which could be problematic for it. We also see... I thought there was something else new. Maybe not, but there are some very good cards. Quaxley, yeah. So Quaxaval, sorry. Quaxaval's is stage 2. Really interesting, really powerful ability on a stage 2, though. So once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. That's pretty solid. Very versatile as well. Will it see play? I don't know if it's quite good enough, but it's really interesting. Then we see Dedene's second bite, 30 plus 10 more for each damage counter points active. That could get big. It's pretty okay. Mimikyu EX. Oh, sorry, Dedenne. This is a deck I was thinking of. Hatterene VMAX, Dedenne, Gardevoir. So, could see playing that deck. Then Mimikyu EX does 30 for each energy attached to both active. You obviously want to power this up with Gardevoir EX. I think this is the deck that everyone's looking at. Mimikyu EX, Gardevoir EX, so strong, hits so hard. Counters with Magnezone, just two interesting cards. Mimikyu and Magnezone, and Gardevoir. They're three sides of the same coin, and they're very strong. So comment down below if this is the deck you think is going to be best, or if you think it's something else from this set. Obviously, there are a lot of decks that currently exist that are still going to be good, but I think this could be really good. You see, the most underwhelming Zangoose ever. This art's not even. This art's pretty cool, but the attacks and stuff are generic. Another Siluzar, Crushing Hammer, of course, getting reprinted. People were scared this wasn't going to get reprinted. Don't worry, everyone. It's still here. Again, this Switch art, as I said, it's so good. I love the style. It's just cleaned up. The other ones are just kind of icky, in my opinion. But this Switch art, so clean, so slick. I love it so much. Vitality Band getting reprinted. I think that's it. Yeah, so, again, best two cards, I think, are going to be... okay, there are so many cards. But yeah, I've covered all the ones that I think are worth talking about. But comment down below if you want to see me talk about GLC as well for this set. I probably will, but I'm not sure when I'll get to it. But yeah, Skwovet with the ability to shuffle your hand and put on the bottom of your deck or draw one every turn. For each Skwovet, amazingly overpowered. It's so I think you can use this to a lot of benefit, and I think it's gonna be really good. And then we also see Slowbro with the ability to heal off all your damage with Cheryl. So I think Slowbro and Skwovet are the two best cards in the set. But comment down below what you think is going to be great in this set. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed my takes. Sorry for the long video. I obviously always have long videos, but there's just a lot to talk about in this one. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm trying to push out more content. If you enjoy this, I really appreciate it if you like the video. If you're not subscribed, really appreciate it if you subscribe. There's, I think, a bug going around where it's unsubscribing people. So check that out. Make sure you're subscribed. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.